Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection show is on the air. We're in downtown Duluth at City Hall and PACT-TV studios. It's June 24th. And Grandma's Marathon just ended this last weekend, and big crowds are in town and a lot of runners and great times. So welcome to the show. This is going to be the last show of the season, but we got a lot to talk to. I'll have two guests over the phone. The first one I'll be calling right now is Tom Holler. He does the Minnesota side of the Red Line Report, and I'll have him explain what the Red Line Report is. It's basically for the National Hockey League draft. So I'm going to give Tom a call, and later on we'll have John Barger, who does the biggest scrimmages for Minnesota high school hockey, and because the coaches can coach during the first 2 months of the summer, June and July, there's a lot of scrimmages going on, and he'll have about 30 teams at his Summerfest again down in the Twin Cities. So let me give Tom a call first.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Tom. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect.
All right, we got Tom Holler. He runs the Minnesota side of the Red Line Report. And first of all, I'm going to have Tom answer what the Red Line Report is.
Yeah, so thanks for the invitation today, Jerry. Appreciate it. The Red Line Report is an international publication started up by an ex-Nashville Predator scout about just a little over 20 years ago now. And he operates out of Lake Placid, New York. And again, we're probably, I'd say about 14, 15 scouts worldwide that contribute to the independent scouting reports, covering every outlet in Europe, Russia, United States, Canada. I believe we've got 4 or 5 scouts in the U.S. covering the Northeast region, the Upper Midwest, and then, of course, the USHL level for Tier 1 juniors. And I've been with the Red Line Report heading into my 6th year this fall.
Wow, that long we've known each other.
Yeah, what a treat, right?
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
So you've been doing this for 6 years. What's the best part that you like of this job?
You know, for me, it's the perfect confluence of data, tracking numbers and players in the region, and then having a little creative leeway to write up reports with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humor and breaking down the talent that's in the region, which, you know, is so impressive. And a lot of scouts worldwide and even in North America have their opinions about the high school level, and it's, you know, it's not Canadian juniors, it's not Tier 1 kids that are you know, playing early at 17 and 18, but there's just no region like the Upper Midwest and the state of hockey in Minnesota. The competition from the youth ranks all the way up, it's just fun to be around. It helps pass by the winners, that's for sure, right?
Right.
And it keeps you young.
Right.
It keeps you mobile. It keeps you young, and it's the perfect endeavor.
Yeah,
I just love it.
I see you all the time at the Minnesota high school games, and we've been seeing the last few years some really nice players. And the draft's coming up this weekend in Vegas, and I was looking over.
The Sphere.
Yeah, I was looking over your red line and Central Scouting, where the National Hockey League hires scouts that do the same thing you do, and then you get publications like Bleachers and Hockey News, the Hockey News, and you name it. They all put their thing out. But boy, I think we're going to get. What do you think? You think we're going to get 10 Minnesota kids drafted?
It's a microcosm of the draft as a whole regionally. I wouldn't say that there's that superstar Crosby McDavid player this year. There's maybe one in Macklin Celebrini, who's projected to go overall number 1.
Right.
Out of Boston U. And he's been on that trajectory for the last 3 years. And his partner at Shattuck has fallen just a little bit. Cole Iserman, and he's with the USNTDP U18s.
Right.
And it's just a little bit of an unfair knock because, well, he might not be the two-way player, and he lacks a little defensive acumen, and he's not as gritty as we'd like him to be. But this kid is a scorer.
Right.
I mean, it is unprecedented. I think I want to confirm that he took the scoring lead in the history of the USNTDP, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he might be a little overly focused this year on achieving that. But I think he could easily transfer into the NHL next year, but I think people would feel a little bit more comfortable if he rounded out his game next season in college out in Boston again and then join the NHL, because you don't want to fall into that, with all due respect, into the Kiefer Bellows category.
Right.
And being just that one-dimensional wrister, and, well, you don't want to get that floaty game going as you get older in your career.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, I'm kind of sad that he declined his commitment to the Minnesota Gophers, and he's going to go back east then, and we don't know where he gets drafted and if he's even going to play a year of college, So,
right.
So
you never know these days until the season's upon you, right?
Right.
We've learned that lesson last summer.
So, who do you like in the Minnesota kids right now in this draft?
Yeah, so, each year I do between 10 and 12 that I rank regionally throughout the year. Most of them I've followed from Bantams all the way up. And I do see a lot of Shattuck during the year. And obviously this year there's been a mixture of a little bit more higher-end talent at Shattuck the last probably 2 years. But this year, regionally, number 1, I do have Hagen Burroughs number 1 in my regional ranking out of Minnetonka. He's just, he's got the length.
Mr. Hockey.
Mr. Hockey. He's got the length. He's got the two-way game. He's just such a high IQ situational player, and he's always just got that textbook 3-zone strategy. He's just an athletic glider on the ice. He's got great back-checking. He's one of the most determined kids. The biggest thing that elevates Burroughs for me, though, is he's one of, 2 kids this year, him and Nolan Road out at White Bear, that when they did their before and afters from the high school season, they contributed at Tier 1 juniors in the USHL. Okay. Burroughs at one point was 1.3 points per game in the USHL last fall. Okay, and I think he ended up with maybe he was the 3rd leading scorer.
Wow.
In the so it's on his USHL squad. So I think he's going to do one more year USHL, and then he'll head to Denver in the
Right.
fall.
Right.
But then again, you never know. He might show up in Denver and Pioneer West in a couple of months. We'll see.
Yeah.
So Hagen Burroughs is my number one, but will he be the first player drafted out of Minnesota? I'd be surprised if he was. I think Will Zellers out of Shattuck will go maybe before Hagen, depending on the team that team needs out there and how the draft plays out. Will Zellers is a phenomenal force.
Right.
He's a little bit of average size. Needs to still gain a little bit more weight in his trunk and his legs, but his pressure in front of the net, he's just absolutely tenacious. Averaged 2 points per game with Shattuck. I think he's the region's best finisher. He's just always a play ahead of the puck, right? He's got that sense about him already. And on the national stage, he helped Shattuck capture their third U.S. title in a row this year.
Right.
In the U18 Tier 1 tournament in Vegas back early April. And, there were games where he put up 4 points in semifinals and finals in that tournament.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean...
So I was looking at the list of some of these organizations, and UMD's got a couple kids coming in this year, and they both played in the USHL, one for the development team. They look like they can go in the first 3 rounds, maybe, is Adam Kleber and Max Plant.
Yes, Kleber is a really nice prospect. I want to say that, we've got him topped out right now, measurement-wise, 6'5", 207.
Right. Big boy.
And, big boy, smart kid, great career at Lincoln in the USHL. He's just a big, defenseman, but he's mobile. And he's just a shutdown defenseman, handles the tough matchups. He's your first pair D. And I think just the continued maturity of the game, UMD defensive style is a perfect slot for him.
Right.
We have him going late first.
Really? Huh.
At the highest projection, he could go late first. But ultimately, we think he's going to slot in late second round.
Okay.
Yeah.
And boy, he's really improved from this first year in junior. He left high school early and when he was 16 years old and played down there. And his first year was a really learning year, but that second year, you can tell the big difference being down there did for him.
Yep.
So that was a great...
just getting the repetition in those and, double the amount of games has been huge for him. These projections, be it Redline, be it, Central Scouting, there's about 20 of them out there these days.
Right.
And even, the two guys that I follow quite a bit, Corey Pronman and Scott Wheeler, they'll write for The Athletic quite a bit, and then they'll do their own publications as well. They update their lists, every few weeks. And but, when the draft happens, once you get through that first round, all bets are off.
Right.
And even then, there's surprises. Jake Boltman out of Edina about 4 or 5 years ago goes in the 4th round,
Right.
And God bless that kid, all due respect, but that might have been a little bit early for Calgary back then.
Right. And
anything can happen.
Yep. Another thing is sometimes when you haven't been picked in the first 3 or 4 rounds, sometimes it's best not even to be picked and be a free agent after, so you can go to any team, a team that might fit for you better,
Couldn't agree more.
Right.
Absolutely true.
Okay, Tom, I only have a couple minutes left. The Minnesota Wild.
Yes, sir.
They're picking on the 13th. Are they going to go for centerman? Are they going to go for a defenseman? Where do you think how they're going to pick here?
Well, I will look into my crystal ball, and I'm going to say, on the heels of this Stanley Cup run the last few years, being mobile, but yet having good size and team defense, I think you're going to see defensemen go early, and there's about 6 defensemen that are projected to go in the first 15 picks.
Oh, yeah.
So, a third to half of those picks are going to be defensemen. I think they're going to fly off the charts. If one player is there at 13 and he's available, I think the Wild will undoubtedly go with Carter Yakimchuk.
Okay.
And he's a Calgary Hitmen defenseman out of the WHL, 6'3", 200, big kid, swift skater. He's an offensive dynamo with a huge, heavy shot. But the best part of his game, he's physical. Two-way physical, makes life tough for opposing attackers. Whether it's, down between the dots, up high,
yep,
breaking through the neutral zone. Carter Yakimchuk would be my number one pick for the Wild at 13 if he's there.
Okay.
But I do believe the defensemen are going to go, and we might miss out on Yakimchuk right before 13, in which case you might see Cole Yzerman drop. If he's there, as much as the Wild need every slot filled still, they should still draft for the best available talent. And somebody who can light the lamp is somebody we've needed since day one. We haven't really had that since Kaprizov came. So
here's another thing I noticed in the draft this year. A lot more than most years. There's so many Europeans that are going to be drafted. It's almost 50-50 with North America. It's amazing how many good players are coming out of Europe now and Russia. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, the Czechs are coming up pretty hard, too, lately, the last few years, and that will be the case this year as well. They're just a high compete level. They've got great youth programs there, and they teach the game the right way, playing a two-way game, 200 feet of intensity, and that compete level is what it's all about. If the Wild miss out on Yakimchuk, I think they're going to go center. I think you're looking at a young kid named Consta Helenius, who's a little bit bigger version and a grittier version of Rossi.
Okay.
And he is a super smart, creative player, makes his wingers better. People might be afraid that he's not the biggest kid on the block at 5'11", but he weighs 190. He's got a lot of lower body strength, and he's extremely savvy on the ice.
All right. Okay, Tom, it was really nice talking to you. Tom Holler, Red Line Report. He's our guy in the Minnesota area, and he loves this game. We talk all the time at hockey games, so two of us love the game.
I'll see you at the rinks. I got that face for radio. You can never forget.
All right. Okay, thank you, Tom. Have a good day.
All right, thanks, Jerry. Anytime.
Okay. Well, we got John Barger from Summerfest director. He's been doing this 100 years. Welcome, John. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing, Jerry?
Very, very good. End of the season. I'm do a few scrimmages and then I take another month off.
Oh, really? Wow.
Are you back in Minnesota now?
I am. Yeah.
All right.
I'm back and trying to get ready for our summer stuff and trying to organize the fall and winter stuff.
Okay,
enjoy the summer.
Let's get into this. You've been doing this about 30 years, haven't you?
Yeah, you're pretty close. I think this is 27.
I think I've been to almost every one of them. I might have missed one.
You have been, and you're
through the back door.
In front door, and you rush the gate, and I try to put barricades.
So, hey, it seems like you got all the good teams again that usually show up for your Summerfest.
Yeah, most of them, Jerry, come back every year. You have a few hiccups here and there. I actually had Rockridge coming down this year, and I got a message last night that they're changing their coaching staff, and they won't be coming. So I'm in the process of trying to fill this morning. But other than that, we've got our 40 teams, and we're just got to fill that one spot, and looking forward to a good tournament in July.
Yeah. So you switching over to Bloomington Ice Gardens now.
Well, I went to Bloomington for the summer tournament maybe 4 years ago. We were at Braemar, but they can't do the weekend that I needed it to be, the last weekend, so the coaches are working with their kids up until the last weekend, and then we have our tournament, and that touches the end of the summer training with their coaches. So I moved it to Bloomington. They have 3 rinks. They did a bunch of remodeling, and they're going to do it again. So it's getting to be a nice facility over there.
Really? I didn't know they're doing all the money into the rinks. That's good.
Oh, yeah. They're
That's good.
doing a huge remodel next year. So I won't be able to have it there next year, but I will the following year again.
Yeah. And you got the JV teams over at St. Louis Park, correct?
Correct. Yep. 16 JV at St. Louis Park. So.
Okay. Last weekend of July Summerfest is July 26th, Friday night, Saturday the 27th, and Championship Day is the 28th. So you're going to have 40 teams. Okay, let's get into what do you know about you have some of the best holiday tournaments with the best teams every year. What do you have going so far this year plan?
For the holiday now you're talking?
Yes.
Well, we have the same teams for the most part coming back. We added Sartell this year because they're an up and coming team, and we like to add some of that stuff for our winter festival with some of the teams that are like last year. They had tied Moorhead, and I think they beat Roseau and Holy Family, were really good games with them. So we added them this year. But the teams that we have 3 sites. We try to do primetime games. So in one site we have Rogers, Wayzata, Lakeville South, and Minnetonka. And I'm assuming 3 of those teams will be top 10 anyway.
Right.
And I don't know about South. They had a pretty young team last year,
right.
And I think they will be tough again.
Right.
And then at St. Louis Park, Sartell, Shakopee, Chanhassen, and Benilde. And Shakopee has got an excellent team coming back. If they get all their kids back, they should be
a top 5 for sure. Top 5 team for sure if they
be,
get their kids come back. I hope they do.
That's kind of the key, yeah.
And Benilde, always good.
Benilde, yeah, Benilde is. They lose with 12 seconds, I think, in the sections to Edina this year, so they were right there.
All the private schools are very good this coming in.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with any of them.
Yeah, and then Champlain Park, Andover, Holy Family, Holy Angels, Rosemount, and Maple Grove. Holy Angels was really young last year. They're going to be very good. Holy Family, same thing. They were very young, and they got almost a great team coming back. And
they got the new coach, Zach Freely. He assistant coach at Chanhassen, very nice kid, and I think he's going to do a good job over there at Holy Family.
Yeah, so, and Andover and Maple Grove, they're always tough teams. I think Champlain Park lost a lot of kids last year, but he seemed to think they had a pretty good group coming back, so that should be a great tournament again. So the 3 rinks are still the same, like St. Louis Park, Plymouth Ice Center, and Maple Grove. Okay. Yeah. So you kept everything, and at one time you're talking maybe Tim O'Leary might do something, but that's good. That's good. You got all the good teams. Yeah, and Maple Grove is building another rink, so they're going to be under construction. I think everything will work really fine there, with the exception of it'll be a different entrance. But they didn't think originally they'd be able to do it there, but we kind of figured it out. So it's always a good site. They get really nice crowds up there, so it's a lot of fun. All right, John. Hey, I'm going to get back with you when the hockey season starts for high school, and we'll go over your holiday schedule then when you have it more organized then. And thanks for talking to me, and hey, have fun at your Summerfest, and you'll probably see me a day sneaking in there. And I'm sure you'll be up in Proctor because your buddy's up there. You'll be up there
Yeah,
him around.
that's a kind of a crazy deal right now.
All right. Well,
All right.
thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it.
Okay, good luck on your festival, and hey, we'll see you down there. Thanks,
All right,
John.
thanks, Jerry. Yep, see you, bye.
There you go, John Barger. He runs the Summerfest down in the cities every year, and former coach of Burnsville High School. And so there you go. So, hey, that's it. We'll see you at the rink. Thank you, PACT-TV, Liz, John, and Jimmy. And hey, like I said, see you at the rink. New season in October.